Several women in the Bible had really very tragic stories, and Merab was one of them. Merab was King Saul's firstborn daughter, and at first someone may even think that it could guarantee her a safe and quiet life. After all, she was the princess of Israel. But that's not exactly what happened. Even in ancient times, many princesses had complicated lives because they were often involved in political marriages aimed at meeting the interests of the kingdom. Merab's case, however, was even harder than that, because she was the daughter of a man who over time was completely disturbed. In fact, even after being dead, his father's choices and attitudes caused him the one that was probably the worst pain of his life. In this video, you will understand everything the Bible says about who was Merab. The exact meaning of the name Merab is unknown. Some interpreters suggest that a boss's expression may be a possible meaning. The Bible also does not. It brings many personal details about who was Merab. But it is very likely that the name of his mother was Inuan, who was the wife of Saul quoted in the Bible. Although it is known that King Saul had concubines, the biblical text also records that Merab had a younger sister named Michal, and Saul's firstborn daughter first appears in the Bible at the time she almost married the young David. That's right, Merab was almost the wife of David. The biblical text reports that after David defeated the giant Goliath, his fame grew a lot in Israel. At first, Saul put David in a prominent position in his army. But as soon as envy took over his heart, and he began to pursue David, Saul, however, realized that David was successful because the Lord was with him. Moreover, the northern tribes of Israel and Judah loved him, and Saul, in a way, was afraid of David. But before that, Saul had already promised to give his daughter in marriage to the man who accepted the challenge of Goliath and kill the Philistine warrior. In the context of Goliath's challenge to Israel, the biblical text records the following. When the Israelites saw Goliath, everyone fled very afraid. The Israelites said to each other, "Did you see that man? The king will give great riches to whom to kill him. You will also give you your daughter in marriage, and will exempt from your father's family in Israel." And David asked the soldiers that they were there by his side, "What will the man who killed this Philistine and save the honor of Israel? Who is this uncircumcised Philistine to challenge the armies of the living God?" They repeated David what they had commented and told him, "This is what will receive the man who kills him." As we know, David was the man who, by the power of God, defeated Goliath and delivered Israel from that humiliation. But Saul sought to use this promise to give his daughter in marriage to David, not only to put him in his family, but to create the favorable conditions for him to be killed in battle. At this point, Saul was already proving to be an uncontrolled man. And that's how Saul promised to give Merab as his wife to David, but he added a condition. See what Saul said? "Here is my eldest daughter, Merab. I will give it to you. Just serve me bravely and fight the battles of the Lord." For Saul thought, "I will not kill him. I leave this to the Philistines." Then, with this condition that David warned the wars of the Lord, Saul basically hoped the Philistines would kill David. But in the face of Saul's proposal, David claimed not to belong to a social position worthy of marrying Merab, the princess of Israel. Then the biblical text says that when Merab's time came to David as his wife, Saul did not fulfill his promise, and ended up giving the girl for a woman to another man named Adriel, or Meolatite. This man was the son of Barzillai and was probably an inhabitant of Abel Meolah. The biblical writer provides no explanation of why Saul changed his mind and married Merab with another man. Some commentators suggest that this may have happened due to David's position in judging it as not up to the king's son-in-law. Others, in turn, believe that this attitude of Saul was due to his neurotic behavior. By then, the king of Israel was already a disturbed man, with his spirit consumed by hatred, jealousy, and anger. Saul viewed David as his rival and wanted to harm him in every way. Finally, Merab did not marry David, but his youngest sister, Amichal, ended up marrying him. In fact, Saul saw David's marriage to Michal the possibility of being able to put David in a trap in which he was finally killed by the Philistines. Once again, Saul was unsuccessful in his plan. And after David became her public disaffection, and after these events involving the plot of Saul to marry her daughters with David, The biblical text no longer records details about Merab's life. Thus, it is not possible to know how was the sequence of your life alongside Adriel. The only exception is a verse in which the Bible reports that Merab and Adriel had at least 5 children. But Merab's children had a very tragic ending. They were delivered by King David to Gibeonites as a consequence of Saul's betrayal against that people. Basically, the Gibeonites had a type of protection treaty with the Israelites, but Saul broke this treaty and chased and killed many Gibeonites. Then, already during the government of David, there was a great crisis in Israel, and the reason for this crisis was the crime committed against the Gibeonites in Saul's time. And to resolve this issue, David called the Gibeonites and questioned them about what could be done so that Saul's mistake would be repaired. The Gibeonites then demanded the death of Saul's descendants, and it was on this occasion that probably Merab had to face the worst pain of his life. The Bible says that the 5 sons of Merab, who were grandchildren of Saul, were handed over to the Gibeonites to be killed. In addition to the 5 sons of Merab, the 2 sons of Hizbah, who was a concubine of Saul, were also killed. And the Bible says that the bodies of the 7 men were publicly exposed. And it was in this context that Hizbah protected the bodies of their children killed by day and night, so that they were not devoured by animals, which would be a great dishonor. And this attitude of Rizpah was fundamental so that, after months, David would allow the remains of the 7 men, including the children of Merab, to be buried with dignity. After that, nothing more is known about what happened to Merab. Now answer me in the comments if you already knew this story of Merab.
As we bid farewell on Path of Faith, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your presence. Keep the conversation going by commenting below, liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel for more soul-nourishing messages.